the human embryo was slowly removed. It's then placed in an artificial womb, where it's injected with amniotic fluid to make the embryo grow larger and larger. It only takes 1 day for a baby to be born. As the uterus is opened, a baby girl appears, giving the robot a satisfied smile. She meticulously wipes the baby's water from her body and holds her in her warm motherly embrace until she stops crying. It turned out to be the first day after the destruction of mankind. The rebirth device in Fortress of Doom has been activated. The robot became the baby girl's only relative. Under its meticulous care, the girl grows up day by day. It's the first time a mother makes fun of her daughter with toys, read her bedtime stories every night and play with her, and the girl sees it as her mother. As the girl grows up, a ray of sunlight shining into the base makes the girl full of doubts about the outside world.
Why aren't there any more children, Mother?
There used to be, before the wars.
And why did you only make one?
Faced with her daughter's inquiry, her mother took her to a place she had never set foot in. Only then did the girl realize that the world outside the base was no longer inhabitable, and she became the only human being in the world, and the hope of rebuilding a new world. In this way, Clara grew up with a mission. She thought she would live a carefree life with her mother. Unexpectedly, an accident allowed Clara to uncover the secrets of the base. There was a sudden power outage in the base that day, and my mother had no energy supply as a result. Clara had to brave herself to find out why, and soon she found the broken wire. She put the bottle on the ground and used what she learned to repair the wiring, and just as she managed to restore power to the base, she caught a rat red-handed. It was the first time she had seen anything other than herself, and her excitement was compounded by her confusion, because the outside world is no longer suitable for survival. So where did this mouse come from? She hurried to her mother to verify, but instead of being surprised, she threw the mouse into the incinerator, because she thought mice could carry the virus. But Clara was full of questions. Maybe the outside world is not what my mother said. But the mother didn't want to defend herself, and just kept disinfecting the base. This made Clara question her mother for the first time. So she secretly put on protective clothing while her mother was charging. She wants to find out the truth about the outside world. However, just as she was about to pull the switch, she heard a strange knock on the door. She listened carefully to the sounds outside. Maybe there are humans out there. She recognized that it was a woman, so I left the protective suit outside the isolation door. As she flips the switch, a wounded woman appears outside the gate. Clara, let the women wear isolation suits, or they won't even set foot on the base. The woman had no choice but to do the same. Just then, the mother, who received the alarm, rushed this way. The woman begged Clara in pain to save her. Clara knows her mother's way of doing things, so she makes women hide. When her mother arrived, she only lied and said she opened the door out of curiosity. She didn't take a step herself. The mother believed her and took her back to continue her studies. Unexpectedly, as soon as her mother left her front foot, Clara returned to the woman again. The first time Clara operated on a patient, the patient asked not to use anesthesia because she didn't believe in Clara in front of her. But Clara didn't give up saving people. Instead, they suck out the blood from the wound and insert an 8-meter-long needle into the wound. The woman's wailing in pain caused Clara, who had successfully removed the bullet, to vomit. The only reason she saved the woman was because she was the first human Clara had ever seen. Turns out they were in Fortress Doom. Clara is the only human on the base, and the robot that raised her as her mother. The arrival of the woman makes Clara question her dependent mother, because the woman told her that it was her robot mother who hurt her, and women have more companions hiding outside. Clara is a little shaken at this moment. She wants to ask her mother the truth about the outside world, but the mother told her that the bullet that the woman shot was the same as the bullet that the woman shot herself. Apparently the woman is lying. She must have been wounded by a human bullet. All of this confused Clara, and she didn't know who to believe. And that's when her mother told her she had a chance to choose a family member. Looking at the row of embryos, Clara carefully removed one. This will be her only human relative at the base. Watching her thriving younger brother, Clara chose to trust her mother. She started asking women why they lied. In order to prove her mother's innocence, she had to verify it herself. At night, she took the bullet out of her arm, while her mother was charging, and then compare it to the bullet that hit the woman. The truth is in front of you. Apparently the two bullets are of the same model. Only then did she confirm that the liar was the mother she trusted the most. It seems that there should be a bigger secret behind this. Only then did she realize that 3 embryos were missing from her reserve. She found a file on embryo number 2 and discovered that number 2 was also being raised by the mother. And the teeth found in the incinerator made her shudder even more. It turns out that no, 2 is a failed case and has been forcibly destroyed. All of this scared Clara to death. and she realized how terrible her mother was. After all, a mother is a machine without feelings. In order to save her own life, she decides to escape from the base with the women. But all this failed to deceive my mother's eyes, because Clara's trembling hands had already betrayed herself. Clara was mercilessly locked in the base. The mother's next target is the woman who bewitches her daughter. Mothers don't allow their work to be destroyed by women, but the woman was prepared. She got into a fight with the robot. The mother's throat was slashed with a knife, but it did not cause fatal injuries. She backhanded the woman to her throat and forced the whereabouts of other humans. The woman was so tortured by her that she was about to be killed. Unexpectedly, the alarm suddenly sounded, and it turned out that Clara escaped. The mother is still worried about her daughter. She rushed to find Clara, but it created an opportunity for the woman to escape. Just as the two escaped the base, their mother caught up with them. Seeing her escape plan fail, the woman suddenly blackmails her mother with Clara. It couldn't bear to hurt its daughter, so it obediently opened the door and watched them escape. But what Clara didn't expect was that the outside world was already dead. The girl is suddenly locked by infrared rays, and the next second is surrounded by a crowd of robots. And as she wobbles, the robot neatly moves away. Under the gaze of their cold eyes, the girl Clara walked into the base nervously, and waiting for her in the base is the robot mother who has raised her since childhood. It turns out that this is the Doomsday Fortress that was launched after the human extinction. Clara was raised by robots, and she always thought she was the only human in the world, until the appearance of a woman made her question her mother. So she fled to the outside world with the woman. She didn't realize she had been fooled until she got inside the container. The outside world was dead, and she didn't see any of the other people she spoke of. That's why Clara escaped. When she saw her mother again, her mother told the truth. It turns out that the humans of the old world will only bring destruction. Her creator had left her with the task of producing a smarter, more moral human being. A mother's highest mission is to protect her daughter. Only in this way can she bring light and hope to the new world. Apparently the daughter passed the test, and therefore her brother was born. She took him from her mother's arms and felt the beginning of a new life. But Clara still couldn't forgive her mother for killing failed humans. She was about to escape from the base with her brother, and she broke the combination lock when her mother was unprepared and stuck her mother. Then she found the pistol left by the previous woman, but the only bullet accidentally fell into the gap. At this point, the mother summoned the machine tank to help herself out. Just as they were about to break in, Clara had her gun pointed at her mother's head. The mother stopped hiding and told Clara the secret of the robot. It turns out that all robots are controlled by their mothers. She wiped out all the humans outside, but only Clara made her hesitate. Looking at Clara's brother in her hands, the mother changed her mind, knowing that Clara was up to the task of perpetuating human civilization. So she lifts her daughter's gun and pulls the trigger for her, and it was so painful for Clara to see her mother, who had raised her, die at her own hands. However, she did not expect that her mother would have to complete one last thing to be considered a complete mission. At this moment, the locator in the woman's hand suddenly lights up, and the next second, the mother appears in front of her eyes. It turns out that the woman is Subject 1, and everything she does is under her mother's control. Now that she's dead, Clara has no worries at all, and Clara has finally taken on the responsibility of being a mother and continued the mission of rebuilding the new world.